And I'm sure there's one, besides climate denialism, I was wondering if there's any other like common things you have to debunk, like common student questions that are like, no, sit back down.
There's definitely, I mean, there's kind of standard things that I'm sure you've already heard before. So, people will sometimes say, we can't predict the weather more than a few days ahead. How can we predict what the climate will look like in 100 years? So there's that kind of thing. And the reason we can do that is because if we're looking at the climate in 100 years, we're not trying to predict the exact weather on a given date. In 100 years' time, we're looking at the general conditions, and those are related to our greenhouse gas emissions predominantly. Whereas in terms of weather patterns, we're interested in when weather events will occur, when rain will occur, say, in a few days' time. And that's more dependent on the exact positioning of weather systems and, how they track forward in time. And that gets more uncertain the further ahead you go. So we care about different things in terms of weather and climate.
Yeah, you don't care if it's 29 on one day and 30 in the next.
Exactly. So that's kind of the type of myth I encounter quite commonly. I guess another one, which is a bit of a change from previous positioning in terms of climate science, was that we can't attribute any particular extreme weather event to climate change. So it used to be said that when we have heat waves, we can't actually say climate change contributed to this event. But the science for that has moved on in the last decade or two. So when we do have heat waves, we know from our analyses of heat waves in Australia and elsewhere that they're becoming, we could say that they're becoming substantially more likely and more intense because of our influence on the climate through our greenhouse gas emissions. So that statement that we can't attribute a specific extreme weather event to climate change isn't really true anymore. Equally, we don't say that climate change caused an extreme weather event. We can say that in the case of extreme heat, climate change greatly increased the likelihood of this event occurring. We can often say that quite quickly after an event. So I guess that's another myth that I encounter quite often.